All right, Effect House, publishing an Effect House. Well, the first thing I'll say is that this is a considerably faster process with less to deal with than in Metaspark Studio, and that has pros and cons. But let's get into it. So let's say we're happy with our dog randomizer. We're ready to go. Do a little check here on our size. Yeah, we're well under. Very good. So we just clicks and I mentioned this before in the interface section. We can preview it here. That gets us a QR code that we scan in the TikTok app, not just your regular camera. But let's say we're ready to go. We click submit and we get hit with this. Well, what's not always obvious is that this is the place to, if you just see this, you might not know that what you need to do to get your tray icon in place is to click this. That comes up. I'll get my desktop, tray icon. Now I've got my tray icon. I'm going to call it whatever I want. I'm going to call this Test Dogs. Effect hint. You don't really need a hint for this one, but for example, in the emitter effect, I use an instruction patch or instruction node in Metaspark Studio. And you don't really need an instruction patch in Effect House if it's something that fits within your the built-in hints they have. In this case, in the emitter open mouth starts everything off. So you could click that here. This checks your size here as well. We're well under. We click upload. Make sure you're already logged in to your, and brought the effect over here so you can see it. Now, you need to give it a category. It doesn't, I personally don't know that it matters that much. The same as with Metaspark Studio. I feel like people find these effects by seeing people using them and then saying, oh, I want to try that, as opposed to doing active searches. But I don't know the metrics under the hood. Maybe I'm wrong. So what would we call the dogs effect? Animals. Tags up to 5 max. Randomizer. Dogs. Fun. Quick. Etc. Anything like this. So this is to the internal team for their QA. This is where you'd say a simple randomizer that shows a fun resolve screen when a dog is revealed. Something like that. You give the QA team some idea of what they should expect to see. And they do have challenges on TikTok, and that's how you would apply what you're doing to a challenge. Upload the demo video. It needs to be, they give it to you here. It needs to be vertical, MOV or MP4, under 32 megabytes, 15 seconds or less. And unlike Metaspark Studio, this is not public facing. It is just for QA. And that's it. You click submit and then you're in the review page. The only caveat to be aware of with TikTok, not the only, but one to be aware of, is that in Metaspark Studio, you can do things like adjust the date and time in which an effect will be released. In Effect House, once it is approved, it's live. So if you have the need to make sure your effect only goes live at a certain time, you have to be a hawk and just check for the approval. And then once it's approved, you have the option to just toggle off the visibility of it. So it's approved and ready to go, and it's invisible once you toggle it off, and then you just manually toggle it on when you're back. That's it. So Effect House, much easier, much simpler, much less to know, but also much less you can do about it with these community effects. Once it's up and QA approved, you're live, and that's it. You can delete the effect or toggle the visibility off. And you'll see that in your page here when you come to manage your effects. I have no effects to manage on here because I have not been publishing effects for myself. I've been doing them for clients. But this is where you get basic metrics. And what you might already be asking is, well, what if you are working for somebody else? What do you do? The honest answer is that we do not try to work out typically a method of getting me access as a collaborator or anything. They just give me access to their account and I upload it directly there. So on a security level, not great and concerning, and it just happens to be a regular practice for even big clients, because even though these control access tools that these platforms offer are useful and they make a lot of sense, a lot of times it's just faster and easier to kind of be over somebody's shoulder while they upload it and then log back out. And then you change the password or whatever. So I'm not advocating that. I'm just giving you a real world experience with that. And so it's also to say I can't speak much to using collaboration tools and authorizations and stuff like that with these effects, because with TikTok Effect House, I've never had to go through it. It's never happened. Quick aside, I realized I forgot to talk about your tray icon, about what it needs to be. It needs to be 162 by 162 PNG. And just keep in mind that the safe area where it will definitely show will be smaller. It will be 144 by 144. They give it to you in their own documentation. And when you walking through this does give you all the data you need on it. And you do have the option when you upload, what you didn't see me do because I was happy enough with it, is you do have a bit of option to resize if you need to within Effect House. I would just make the thumbnail you want first and then just upload it. I'll provide these too. They advocate for certain kinds of sizes and certain kinds of, design elements, design concepts here. I have found it kind of range the gamut for thumbnails. When you're working with a client, they're probably wanting to promote something, and it's probably not going to be this simple. But if they want to use text, they just need to be aware that it's going to be very small and design accordingly. All right, that's it for thumbnails.